Well, hurricanes and other natural disasters threaten homes in every state, and climate change is increasing that risk.
Now, you may think you know if a home is in a risky area, but it's not always obvious that a home you're considering buying or already own is not as resilient as you may imagine.
Aris Papadopoulos, founder of the Resilience Action Fund and author of Resilience, the Ultimate Sustainability, joins us now to help us learn about what he's doing to help homeowners. Thanks for joining us. Now, let's get right to it. If I buy a car, it doesn't matter where I buy it. It's built into built with a certain standard here, but state to state or even city to city, standards vary wildly and when they start building homes.
That's very true, Paul. We have a fragmented code system. Some states have the most recent codes. Some states have older codes, and some states don't have codes at all. And they're all free to modify the model code as they wish. But I have some good news in that just last week, a new resource, it's called the Buyer's Guide to Resilient Homes, was just released by my own nonprofit, and also a collaboration with the Federal Alliance for Safe Homes. So go to Buyer's Guide to Resilient Homes, and it's like having a knowledgeable friend or uncle advising you on where to look, how to look at a neighborhood, how to look at a house, so you make sure it's resilient.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because if I live in Wichita, then I definitely have different needs than if I live in Miami in terms of the standards that my home is built to and what it's built to withstand. So talk to us a little bit about the importance of those standards in different cities.
Yeah, of course, the U.S. has a variety of hazards, but throughout the country, we have fire and water hazards. Even deserts have flash floods. So those are kind of across the whole country. East of the Rockies, we have winds, whether in the form of tornadoes or hurricanes. And in the Gulf Coast and around Memphis, we have earthquakes. So know what your hazards are. The guide itself can give you that kind of information for every one of those hazard types. So let's say you're within a mile of a wildfire area, of a forest. There are things you should be looking at when you're looking at that location, you're looking at that home. For example, fire travels uphill faster than it does downhill. So if you're looking at a hillside, being high up could be more dangerous in a wildfire situation.
And thinking about how homes are built differently in different parts of the country, even putting these things into purpose, into the actual building plan, it costs pennies to do while you're building it versus a lot more if you're trying to retrofit your home afterwards.
Exactly. The best time to make a home resilient is from the beginning. And unfortunately, our codes are really set at a minimum level just to help people escape the house, not to protect the house. So if you're custom building, you can do a lot of things. But if you're buying a spec home or buying an existing home, you've got to watch out what to do. Of course, there are retrofits that you can make. And the guide includes a whole checklist of those retrofits. Some of them are less expensive and some of them cost more. But for example, if 20 years you're looking to replace the roof, go for a higher wind rated and fire resistant roof, not something just that the code requires.
So, Aris, is there kind of a moment where you have to decide, okay, I bought this home, I already own it, I just found out it's not built to standards. Is there kind of a line that you would draw as a homeowner as to whether you should retrofit it and fix it to bring it up to standards, or maybe sell it and move on?
That's an important question, and everyone has to ask that individually because each situation is going to be different. But if you're in a location that's on a floodplain or flood prone, that's a very expensive project to do to raise that house. So, you know, those situations you've got to look at individually. Obviously, you can do more things if you're on a resilient piece of property, higher uphill, far away from a forest, not on an earthquake fault, than you could do it on a property that's really in a vulnerable location.
About money, because some people look at this and say, why should I spend this money in kind of making my house stronger when if something happens to it, homeowners insurance will pay for it, right?
Yes, insurance is important to have, but bear in mind that insurance will not cover all your expenses. And beyond your deductible and the caps and all that, there's a lot of personal costs that go into losing a house. It could affect your employment, could affect your health, definitely it's going to affect all members of your family. And these are real costless and real experiences that, you know, can affect you.
All right, great information. Thank you so much. That's Aris Papadopoulos, founder of the Resilience Action Fund, with great information. And yes, insurance is there just in case. You don't rely on that because It is nothing worse than losing your house, losing your possessions, and you have no home to go to.
Yeah, and maybe the surrounding city that you live in is destroyed as well.